Hey, I'm Jeff, and I make music with my brother.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I also make music with my brother.
Together, we are Ekko and Sidetrack, and we make music that sounds like this.
And this.
And even this. This podcast is about music, creativity, and everything in between.
Welcome to A Band Apart with Ekko and Sidetrack. You said you wanted to start today's podcast by showing me something.
Yeah, and now it's on my phone, which we're using to record, so you'll never bloody know.
Fantastic.
No, what I wanted to ask you is, you've made noises in the past about wanting to attend like a medieval fair.
Yeah, and it was close to attending one last year in London, or outside of London, in Surrey.
I think you came even closer to attending one 2 weeks ago without even knowing it.
Oh yes, go on.
Because in Hyde Park, where we both live...
Oh yeah, I've seen a medieval fair there before. I've seen some dueling.
There was some dueling. And as Holly and I walked past on a Sunday, there were two men draped in armour with their sigils up.
What a dream.
Going at it. So tell me why that is appealing to you, and also tell me where I get tickets for next time.
I think it's appealing to me because it's that like play. I loved playing as a kid. Like I would always build medieval things in Lego. I would always do sword fights in the backyard.
Or even when episode 1
Phantom Menace
came out, we would choreograph fights with each other.
Yeah.
You had the double-ended staff. I
had a single staff.
Yeah.
And I would do that with other friends, and that kind of led into like making little movies and acting. And I just always thought it was fun to like make believe. I mean, it's why I like acting. It's fun. It's silly. It's like you get to live out fantasies that are normally impossible. And I think it's something that we lose as we become an adult. And I think I've definitely lost it at certain parts of my life because I've been too self-conscious about wanting to pursue something like that. Or I listened to the voice of people that didn't believe in me, or just other influences in my life. But I love the idea of, going in sword fighting, pretending like you're in Lord of the Rings, pretending like you're in Game of Thrones, pretending like you're the knights of the Round Table or a musketeer.
You love the musketeers.
I loved the musketeers. I loved swords. I loved cape. I would wear a cape again.
You should wear a glove again.
I could wear a glove.
I think I lie. I think the glove moment came and went pretty quickly.
I think a cape is back.
You could wear a cape,
like a shroud, or like a musketeer cape.
Oh yeah,
with a sword,
front and back. It's interesting how self-consciousness kicks in, and you kind of like deny that part of yourself because you don't want to somehow satisfy the unknown other person that might tease you for doing the thing.
My biggest regret in life is listening and caring too much what other people think. And then also judging other people too. Actually, I don't think I ever judged too harshly. I remember we had the conversation last night.
You definitely
but like
some moments where you judged people.
I remember, yeah, of course,
and in a hilarious ways because you're a comedian.
Well, I think there's a difference between mean judgment to be mean and to be funny. And I think we were both, especially last night, looking for the laugh. But I remember in high school, I would hang out with the drama people and the art people. And I was friends with like the quote unquote cool kids. And they would be like, oh, those fucking drama nerds, or like losers doing that. And because I swam in those circles too, I would be like, it's not actually lame to enjoy a bit of Shakespeare, or it's not actually lame to go and do like a acting trip.
It's actually significantly cooler to be passionate about something.
Yeah.
Rather than passionate about nothing.
And I remember being like,
which is the cool thing, like, I don't even like stuff.
I'm not even into stuff, and that's why I'm cool. It's a silly mentality. But I definitely think Like I don't think I gave many people or teased many people for believing and wanting to have a passion.
But you felt teased sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
I know I definitely had moments where I was like,
Absolutely.
I would like to do that thing, but I'm going to just like
I love,
maybe not.
I really enjoyed my time at school. Like, you know, of course there was bullying and that kind of thing, but overall, I enjoyed my time and I liked my friends. But at the same time, I wish I was friends with more people that were like me rather than me feeling like the outlier. And maybe there were people at my school that were more like me and I just didn't cultivate those friendships enough.
Yeah.
But I was the outlier.
It's hard.
And I was the one that fell into line of, we're not, you know, I don't want to help you guys. Like I would say, let's make a movie this weekend. Like come over, and they'd be like, we're watching the football, or like want to go, don't know, do something. And eventually, I was just stopped.
That wears you down.
Yeah, and it wears you down because it's denying a part of yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was aware of that enough and aware that it was important to me enough. I was just like, oh yeah, okay, I can go do that thing. Or we'll come.
Which is what you should believe. You've got to, because otherwise you'll just believe you can't do anything.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you've just got to have resolve.
That's hard for like a teenager,
and especially you're impressionable. You haven't got any pubic hair. You're battling multiple people from
demons,
different angles. Like you just want to.
You just want to beat it constantly.
You just want to fit in, and if fitting in means that you don't get to make your little horror movie that weekend, but instead you go and.
It's interesting as kids.
Play football or something. As
kids, you like become. You're so many different things. You've got so much imagination, and then almost when you become a teenager, all you want to do, the only thing you want to do, is not stand out. You just want to fit in, and I think that sometimes it's the kids that are okay to stand out that actually go further because they've started standing out earlier in some weird way. It's easy to stand out in, I don't know, something that's like universally accepted, like sports or something. So that person can get good younger. But if you're really good at arts, gosh, I hope you have someone around you to help you nurture that. Otherwise, you might be like, oh, I don't really want to spend heaps of time on that. Or I do want to spend heaps of time on that, and at the cost of potentially having like a larger friend circle or whatever. I spent too much of my time in fucking high school living for the weekend, partying and drinking and fucking just being a fucking funny guy.
And I think that's a fine way to spend your time. But I don't think I got it. I don't think I understood it until I left. Till I was at university, I was like, oh, I should have been working in this kind of way then. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, for sure. But that's what life is about. Growing up, making mistakes, doing things differently. And it's very difficult. Like, I'm glad that we're doing something now creative. And eventually it bubbled to the top, you know?
It became so strong that you couldn't not do it.
Yeah, because there's so many other people that are like, oh, I was playing Warhammer when I was 13, but everyone called me a nerd and a pussy at school. So I stopped and I went against that. I'm like, fuck Warhammer. And now there's people out there that all they want to do is the thing that they did as kids, but the negative mentality is so strong in their head that thing is stupid or that thing is wrong, that they spend the majority of their lives in a turmoil fighting that. And I think that that's a really sad thing. I love that. I saw an interview the other day with Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill.
He's Superman?
He's Superman.
Yep. Handsome bastard.
He loves Warhammer.
Does he?
Loves it. Talks about it openly. Is a massive nerd.
Well, most people are, man.
And most people that we like Nerd is definitely not a as negative term as it once was.
I also think you have to be a nerd. Sorry to cut you off. If you want to be good at something, you have to be a nerd, because a nerd means, the definition of a nerd is really someone who's super interested in doing one thing.
Someone who tries hard.
Yeah.
Remember when, I mean, I don't think it's still like an insult, but do you remember calling someone a tryhard was an insult?
Yeah, absolutely. It's because they were trying too hard at the thing.
How dumb is that?
No, well, what a tryhard, the classic meaning of a tryhard was, it was like someone that, had all the gear but no idea.
Or someone that's maybe going a bit too hard into something.
But who are we to judge the threshold of hardness that you should attack something?
But see,
it's so funny when you break it down.
I don't think it's we thinking that we're not tryhards or we're better. I think this becomes down to just an awareness thing and how we're empathetic, and you can just pick up on people's vibes and energies, and you can tell that one person is feeling insecure, so they're trying harder to overcompensate for their fear.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like a tryhard? I have. I'll tell you exactly as well.
Yeah?
2008 in Copenhagen by myself after we'd done some family traveling.
Yeah.
And I came back to Copenhagen just before I caught an overnight train. I was at university at the time, and I went into a skate store to find out some directions to an Ed Templeton art exhibition. Ed Templeton's he's a skater, and he did an art exhibition. And I asked the guy where. He's like, "Oh man, the exhibition's around here. Cool." And we chatted for like a minute and a half. And he's like, "Oh man, have you got a board? Do you want to borrow a board? Like, you can skate there and just bring it back." And I was like, "Oh nah, I hurt myself skating. I haven't skated in ages." He's like, "Oh man, me too. Like, I broke my ankle a few years ago. I just don't skate. I just roll around. You can still borrow a board if you want." I was like, "No, it's cool." And he's like, "How'd you hurt yourself?" And I was like, I was just like, and I had no answer. I should have just fucking lied to be a cool guy, but I just said like, "Oh, I sprained my ankle." And then and he just kind of looked at me like, "You don't skate. You're oh, okay, cool." That very European Scandinavian kind of way. Like, "Oh, I thought you were passionate about things in your life.
Yeah.
Turns out you're just a fucking chump."
Yeah.
Okay. And I climbed the stairs out of that shop, and I felt like a fucking fraud.
I don't know if that's a tryhard.
I felt like a tryhard. He didn't have the
vernacular.
Is that the word? He didn't have the vocabulary to call me a tryhard.
But in my mind, a tryhard is like,
I wasn't being a tryhard, but he thought I was a tryhard. But it takes someone to call you a tryhard. You don't ever think you're a tryhard. You think you are doing the thing.
Feeling it.
Yeah.
I think of the guy in I Love You Man, who's super enthusiastic and goes to the soccer and is like, "Give it up! We gotta give it up!" Like that, that like hyper like dude.
He's just trying to be so cool.
That's what I think of when I think of a tryhard.
Yeah.
But I've definitely been in that circumstance before.
I've also called someone a tryhard.
Oh yeah, I've called people
million
tryhards.
times.
Dude, of course.
Is that someone from another country should send us an email or send us a message on Instagram? Is that a term?
Is that an offensive term?
Yeah, because it feels very Australian. Because in Australia we have that tall poppy thing where like, "Look at that guy. He's trying to stand out and be good. Let's cut him down.
He's trying too hard."
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why. I mean, there's that element of us in our lives.
It's something hard to overcome as well, because there is
that
this.
One didn't work.
There is this feeling of I want to be really good at something, but being good at something is quite hard.
And I don't want to try.
Well, you don't want to be seen to try hard.
Yeah.
You want to achieve something amazing, make it look easy, and have it be easy.
I think this is why successful people, aside from money, going into education systems like schools, good schools, is so handy because everyone there is trying hard. I think of some of our friends that went to like great schools and well-to-do schools, and think how of their work ethic. You know, because everyone's here to try. Everyone's here to try hard. It's like going to uni.
The standard is just
It's
better.
just higher, and you're around people that are trying hard.
Everyone wants to be there,
and it's competitive.
Yeah,
and like it pushes you forward rather than a place that's like, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
I honestly think it's so many different factors.
Oh yeah,
but the people you hang out with, if they're not people that are passionate about something, because they're all scared, insecure teenagers, then they're just going to make the person who stands out in their group feel the least. And that feels bad. And we were both people who like would stand out in our group.
And both people that were bullied because of it.
Yeah, or would get knocked down because of it. And then you're like, I'm actually just going to go into my own private area and do stuff.
I wasted so much time hanging out with people that fucking pushed me down. What a waste. I mean, it's made me the person I am today.
But it's also
good.
It also made you. It means that like a compressor takes a little bit to release, to return to normal.
Yeah,
you've had to kind of like bounce back up.
Yeah,
to get to that like average baseline, and now you can like thrive.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could have been thriving for the last 30 years.
Yeah, what a dream that would have been. Yeah, I just wish that I'd found the people that.
But we still haven't found those people because we live in Perth where those people are fewer and far between. Sorry to rip on Perth, but like, you know, we get limited social time, and find people that really have the fucking juice. It's hard to find, especially when they have social time as well.
Yeah, I think that it's that inspiration. Like, we're very inspired by our surroundings. That's why we respond so well to. I mean, that's why we do a podcast. We have these conversations with each other, or we have these conversations with our friends, or like we try to hang out with people that inspire us, as well as delivering some sort of knowledge or enjoyment. Yeah, it's difficult to do in Perth because I think that we've got people in our life that we want to spend more time with, but we can't. And I don't need to find, I think Carl and I talked about this last week, like you could find the equivalent of some of those people in Perth, but then it's time. I think it's like, really, we just have to cultivate those relationships we have more by having phone calls and just try to keep it as inspired as possible. And just so it feels like we're part of the greater thing. Carl and I talked about last week about like the isolation that Perth, while it can be a benefit, I think sometimes it can be a real negative because you are isolated from, whatever, the music industry or club life or festivals or whatever it is. That can be a strength because you can maybe rise to the top in your field, or you've got more space to grow, but it doesn't necessarily aid you when you want momentum or when you want energy.
Also, sometimes
it's very difficult to create.
Sometimes you don't get tested often enough.
Yeah.
So you fall into the trap of being like, I'm a big fish in this small pond. And then you start believing that the pond you're in is actually the big pond.
Yeah.
So you don't get tested enough. And I think that those tests are very important.
What's the time?
It's nearly 4:00.
Okay. We've got a bit more time. That's great. Can you think of a time, like what's the most scared you've ever been?
A very short but very real fear came over me. One day I was quite stoned at the beach with my friends, and I was the only one staring out to the ocean, and everyone else was like looking back at me. So I was closest to the beach, and I saw a grey fin about 15 meters behind us go under the water, and I was speechless, and I started backing out of the water. And I got up about waist high because we were all in like to our chest. I got about waist, maybe a little bit shallower, and like, and I started pointing, and then I realized other people had started doing the same thing, and then about 4 seconds later, a dolphin jumped out of the water. That was fearful. I was just like, whoa, I was so scared. I was completely speechless, and also just protecting myself. Fuck my friends. Scared. That's one thing. I don't know. Maybe it's always been just like moments, like very short moments. I can't think of a moment I've been like, I don't know, scared how?
Scared like you would if something supernatural was happening to you. Like not scared as in nerves. Like I've been nervous before or apprehensive.
Yeah.
I remember...
or extremely anxious.
Yeah. I remember feeling very anxious before my drama practical exam in year 12. Like it was like an audition. And I remember being anxious before going away by myself in Amsterdam, like getting off the bus in Amsterdam in 2008.
Same time I was lying to a fucking Danish skateboard shop owner. Yeah.
But I've been watching a few scary movies recently.
Ooh.
Horror films, thrillers, if you will, because I'm quite enjoying the techniques and ways in which a filmmaker can change your state so much. You know, you're watching something, maybe the lights are on, maybe the lights are off, but you really feel frightened to such an extent that's more intense than the happiness you feel if you watch a happy movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's like it plays on the fear response, and it's I think your body is more heightened and aware of danger. But I was just thinking, like, I don't know if I've been scared that much. I've also been thinking about this because you and I booked in a tandem bungee jump to do when we're in New Zealand for Mardi Gras next month. Tickets in our bio. Go, come see us. Come say hello. And I was thinking, like, I can be nervous about that and apprehensive, but when I'm standing on that thing and standing on the edge, and they're like 3, 2, 1, like I think of that moment, and that will be scary.
I think the heights will be scary as you like kind of like pull up to the thing and get put in your harness. And then
I could fucking have an anxiety attack right now.
Well, don't psych yourself up too much because I've been thinking a little bit about it, and I think everything there's a lot of life on the other side of that.
Oh yeah.
So it's a very physical thing to just do. Like, and for the viewers, listeners, bungee jumping is like so low on my to-do list.
I've never been on a roller coaster. I don't really like rides.
Neither have I. I'm going to go on a roller coaster this year as well.
Jeez.
Potentially the world's fastest.
Ekko and Sidetrack really growing in 2023.
Yeah, well, some of that is what it is. Is that like being like, you know, bungee jumping or roller coasters is this like, one, it's like, it's setting a new threshold for your fear or they're like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Say yes, be brave, which is a lovely thing.
Yes.
But it's also like, oh, I don't want to do that. Well, that's all the more reason you fucking should.
It's going towards your fear.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
And I believe that when we're hanging upside down after having done it, we'll be like, that was so fucking insane. What the fuck? Oh my gosh. And it's a moment in time.
Yeah.
You will have done that thing. It's crazy. But you don't get what's on the other side of that unless you do the thing.
Yeah.
There's no way to shortcut that.
I'm going to definitely James Bond style. We both have to do that.
Swan dive?
Yeah. Also, how close are we?
I don't know. I've been thinking whether we like
knock
heads or something. Yeah.
Imagine if we died.
Imagine if one of us die. Oh, the harness. It's like,
Oh, you go down.
I reckon you'd hit the water though. You'd be slow. You'd be going slow enough that you'd be fucked up. But
you're okay.
perishment is not on the list.
Nah, I don't want to perish, and I don't think I will perish.
I
think we'll be fine. But I'm more afraid of like.
You're afraid of everything else.
The height.
You're afraid of think of all the things you're afraid of. Now be as excited about all the things you could be excited about.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess as well with the fear thing, I was after we watched a horror movie, someone scared me. Someone was hiding in the bathroom.
Ooh.
And my heart skipped a beat. And I was like, I nearly fucking hit them. And like that kind of heightened fear for a jump scare. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a time that I've felt that.
I've been in a few car crashes. Maybe that's given me a jump scare, like a scare, a fear. But that's more of like a in it.
Yeah.
Intense, like adrenaline rush.
Not like we're doing a seance and the door slams.
Yeah. What's funny as well is you know the kind of Kevin Kelly thing you guys were talking about the other week.
I haven't listened to that podcast and I really want to.
You should. He's great. But I think Derek Sivers says it as well. Is if you wouldn't do it tomorrow, don't do it. I think that applies to some things, but something like a bungee jump or something that like is fearful. Of course, the initial response is absolutely. I do not want to bungee jump tomorrow afternoon. But that's one of the things you're like, nah, I'm going to just commit even though I don't particularly want to.
Yeah.
Because come,
that
Friday, we're going to literally get on a plane and it's going to be a moment where like, we're bungee jumping shortly. There's the place where we'll be bungee jumping.
Yeah.
We're getting picked up in 15 minutes to go bungee jumping.
The guy's going to be like, hey guys, you ready to go?
And I'm going to say, fuck yeah. Because I think the more you get into it, the more you can pull yourself close to the edge.
Yeah.
But if you just like, nah, you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Do it bravely.
Exactly.
Do it with courage. Do everything in life. The lessons learnt in today's podcast is do everything in life with courage, listener. And also surround yourself with a group of people that you love and a group of people that motivate you and inspire you and nurture your differences and your creativity and your independence and your weird idiosyncrasies. Don't hang around with people that tease you or make you feel bad or belittle you for having those differences. Have a great week.
I feel like I just watched the last Final Thought with Jerry Springer.
R.I.P. I actually listened to last week's podcast today and I was thinking about Jerry Springer.
You know he ran for he was a senator or he's not a congressman. He was like in state politics.
Really?
And at one point he stepped down because he got jacked in a few shacks. And then he came back. He won the people's
Really?
back, yeah.
Because he got hand jobbed.
Yeah, maybe.
Puts me out for my career as a politician.
I reckon in the future, politicians will be able to have done a lot more stuff than they previously have. Jonathan,
I agree.
it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure too, buddy. I'll see you on the other side.
You will. I love you, buddy.
I love you too, buddy. See you later.
Also,
yes,
just quietly, shout out to Carl. You did a great job. I don't think Carl will listen to this or get to the end, but I thought his insights were very good. You did well. This is a postscript, and it might even be edited out. But
yeah,
I think you did really well, Carl, and you'd be a good regular guest.
I think it was I enjoyed the conversation. I think it was a real snapshot of conversations we sometimes have here in the Ekko and Sidetrack, Shock One, Dark Machine, whatever you want to call it, studio complex that we're currently in.
And then you guys got a little bit self-conscious towards the end where you started saying, everything's boring, it's boring. You should have just kept going.
Yeah,
well,
I think Carl.
But I also think you hit the 55-minute mark unless you were going to get another stride. And it's good to stop.
Yeah, I agree.
And it would have been good to stop for us as well.
This will be edited out. Okay, buddy, I'll see you later. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. We are Ekko and Sidetrack on all social media. We've recently updated our YouTube. Go and give that a subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the latest video podcasts. And follow us on Spotify too so you can keep up to date with all our latest music releases. Big up!